down 1,000 times. I ain't going nowhere. Yeah, I'm standing right here. Demons all around, but I ain't got no fear.
All right, guys, welcome to the show. We are talking about 5, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 big bad breakouts at the wide receiver position. I got the one, the only, the special, the king of fantasy. Welcome in, audience, Jimmy, aka the Maverick. What's going on, Jim?
Hey, man, feeling good. Ready to do this. Let's have some fun.
I'm ready to dive into this, man, and we are full flow of fantasy. I see the numbers are getting bigger. I see the downloads are getting higher. I see the views getting bigger. We got Gwen integrate. We got Tim the Bald Guy coming in. We got you coming in. It's been exciting, Jim. I'm really excited for the season. I'm doing another draft right now. It's a really slow draft. It's a 2-quarterback league. I've acquired Bijan and Jonathan Taylor and Garrett Wilson while everyone went quarterback. So I'm ready to kind of look at quarterback now, and there is a limited selection, but I wanted to get those players early, Jim. So lots going on. Too much going on. I can't keep up with it right now.
Yeah. Just don't wait too long on those quarterbacks, man.
Everybody's hoarded them up, and it's like, man, it's like running thin. But there's a couple guys I got up my sleeve. I don't want to say who because there might be some people listening, but
Right.
There's still quarterbacks to be had. So, Jim, before we get into this, we got 5 wide receivers that could break out here or in a breakout position. Before we do, guys, secure the 16-round draft solution. Now, some people say, what is the solution? What is the plus? The solution is everything you need to crush your league. They're 2 standalone courses. The solution is video training, optimal players drafted in each round, printable cheat sheet, everything you need. The 16-round plus is a web-based draft tool, which is mobile friendly. It's going to give you inside analytics and inside information from breakout to contract years on all the players, all laid out for you on a silver platter. 2 separate solutions, guys, there for you at thefantasyfootballcounselor.com. Secure the solution, secure the championship. Head on over under programs at thefantasyfootballcounselor.com. Jim, I'm excited about this, man. We're offering solutions to people to not even just win the league, but like crush the league and be light years ahead of everybody else, really.
Well, yeah, I mean, when it comes down to it, in my opinion, when it comes to success in fantasy football, 50% is the draft. It is so critical. You're not going to win your league if you have a crappy draft. You're not going to waiver wire and trade your way into a good team.
Right.
You draft from a position of strength. You have that strength going into the season, and then you utilize that strength to make your team even stronger during the season. So that's what the 16 rounds plus is all about. It's helping you nail that draft and know who the best player is at each and every pick, regardless of the size of your league, your draft position. It's going to give you customized recommendations for each round. So
I disagree with you. I think it's actually 70+% of, with the draft, because with me, when I do my draft, and I'm always in leagues where there's a ton of depth, right? So I'm able to draft all the sleepers, all the breakouts. I rarely go to the waiver wire. I go to the waiver wire if I need an extra defense, which I always back myself up there as well. Maybe a kicker, if there's a kicker in the league, or maybe that breakout player that maybe I overlooked or something like that. But very rarely. My team is always so robust. For me, because I know how to draft, and you will as well, I think it's even a bigger percentage. Having that solid draft is over 70% of your success, in my opinion. But yeah.
I mean, when it comes to the waiver wire, yeah. I mean, if you find yourself one every week starter off of the waiver wire, you've done a great job. I mean, that's a really good thing to happen. And like last year, I picked up Christian Watson in nearly every league I was in at about week 5, week 6. He was just there. He was just on the waiver wire. Everybody that had him dropped him, and I picked him up. Man, was he beneficial. He was, huge when he came back in, fully healthy and everything. So it's, you're going to find 1 or maybe 2 guys on the waiver wire that are going to be an every week start for you. And that's a great benefit for your team. And if you've already got a strong team, it just makes it more dominant, and so, like I said, when it comes to best ball, it's 100% is the draft, because that's all you get. You get the draft and that's it. You're done for the season. It's just how those players do. So,
Right.
but like I said, I think it's a like 50%, 50% the draft, 30% managing your team, and then 20% luck. That's how I lay it out. So,
All right. So let's go with your first wide receiver here. That's our breakout. I could have had a better sound effect for that, but that's our breakout. We're talking your first one here is Chris Olave. Jim, you really love Chris Olave this year, 3rd round ADP. I think that's great value for a guy who's getting, a decent fantasy quarterback, and Derek Carr throwing to him. They got Michael Thomas there, Alvin Kamara, possibly suspension, all this stuff. Chris Olave is a lock player who gets an upgrade at quarterback this year, a significant upgrade when you look at it from a fantasy perspective. Olave's young, dynamic, huge upside, sophomore, major breakout season. Why do you love Olave so much?
Well, I got to say, I'm not going to try to say here that Derek Carr is a good quarterback, because he's not. He's not a good quarterback. But he knows how to utilize his top receiver, and he makes his top receiver fantasy relevant. Last year, Devontae Adams, 180 targets, the wide receiver 2 overall. The year before, Hunter Renfrow, 128 targets, wide receiver 13 overall. In 2020, it was Darren Waller with 145 targets, the tight end 2 overall. Carr knows how to utilize his top receiver. And in my opinion, Chris Olave is that player. I don't think Michael Thomas is it. Michael Thomas is old and broken down, hasn't been able to play because he's been injured for the past 3 seasons. I am not concerned about him at all for competition. You've got Alvin Kamara also possibly going to be serving a suspension, upwards of 6 games. That might happen at the start of the season. That might happen during the season. Just devastating for fantasy football. Olave is the number one. Dude got 119 targets last year with Andy freaking Dalton, was the wide receiver 23, which is amazing considering who his quarterback was.
How's that guy still in the league? I don't even know how Dalton's still in the league. There's quarterback. I think Flacco is still in the league. There's certain quarterbacks that are like, how are they still in the league? It's crazy. Like maybe years ago.
I just think, with a guy like Dalton or Flacco, they're perennial backups. He just happened to be the healthiest quarterback. Wasn't it Jameis Winston had the back injury last year or something?
Yeah.
So, it's just one of those things. He's a failed quarterback. I hate failed quarterbacks for fantasy football. But this year, Carr does not qualify as a failed quarterback. He's good, and he's good with his wide receiver 1. He's great with his wide receiver 1. So take Chris Olave with confidence, especially if you can get him in the 3rd round. Man, he is like my favorite target for the 3rd round right now.
Yeah, and you're always aiming high on the depth chart here, and you're getting young, dynamic talent, good opportunities. A no-brainer that he absolutely, and you could say he had a mini breakout last year, and I get it, but I mean, sky's the limit for him this year. I think there's more upside. All right, let's move on here to my guy here. All right, the guy I'm talking about, I'm all over him. I got him in all my leagues. I specifically did a reel on this, blasted it everywhere I go. If there's one player that's on all my roster at the wide receiver position, it's Quentin Johnson. Now, I love him. I love the opportunity. I went back and I looked at the stats and the target distribution. And, man, I'm looking at this and I see that Josh Palmer benefited significantly last year from the injuries that were sustained to Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, who missed some time. He had 107 targets, and I don't think he deserves it. He's not good enough to deserve it. His college numbers compared to Quentin Johnson in their last year of college, I think he only had 475 yards receiving, something like that was Josh Palmer. He's just not he was drafted in the 3rd round. Just not that good of a receiver. He was there as he was just there, Now you get a top elite athlete in Quentin Johnson. And again, I've read the reviews. I don't really believe in scouting reports that much, but I watch a tape, He's that perfect mix of speed and size, dynamic playmaker. He should be on the field every single time lining up on the outside. Huge opportunity for a quarterback that throws the ball more than anybody. And he was 2nd in passing attempts, Herbert was last year. In a contract year, Quentin Johnson, I'm not sold on Keenan Allen at all. Washed up, old. I don't care what anyone says. Any wide receiver in his 11th year does not appeal to me. And yet people are still drafting him in the 3rd round, which is absolutely ludicrous. I would never, ever draft a wide receiver, especially when, let's just say you're looking at Keenan Allen. You're like, I want to get Keenan Allen, right? I understand the quarterback looks good, but you got to take a look at the age. You got to take a look at the fact that the team drafted a wide receiver in the 1st round. That would be literally like drafting Adam Thielen the year Jefferson was a rookie. That's the way I'm looking at this, right? People don't see it like that. They're just seeing it as like, I don't know. They're just not seeing Quentin Johnson for what he is, and he's amazing value in drafts. Huge upside this year, and even if he busts, I don't care because I'm getting him in the 8th round, which is crazy. Jim, I love this guy, man. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, I'm excited about Quentin Johnson as well. And you're right about Josh Palmer. The guy's just a jag. He's just another guy. He didn't do anything with the opportunities he was given
Right.
last year. And on top of that, not just Keenan Allen, but Mike Williams is also really getting up there in age. Mike Williams is 29. Both these guys have had an extensive history of injuries. So that means there is many, many easy paths for Quentin Johnson to take the lead role on this team for receptions. And yeah, he's paired with one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Justin Herbert is absolutely fantastic.
Right.
Did slump last year, as one would expect when you have all those injuries he was dealing with. So I think Quentin Johnson, sky is the limit. I'm not sure I'd go out and say he's going to be the wide receiver one on this team, but I think he can be extremely productive and he can actually get it done, unlike Josh Palmer. So
okay, hold on, I'm going to interrupt.
The opportunity is there.
I'm going to say it. Quentin Johnson has an opportunity and will be the wide receiver one on the Chargers. Justin Herbert's main target will be Quentin Johnson this year. I'm calling it now. Keenan Allen's washed up. The other guys are done. Quentin Johnson to the moon. Let's go, baby. That's my guy. There you go. The energy.
Yeah, but he's a great option. He's going at ADP 80 right now. So what's that? That's like 8th round or 7th round.
Yeah.
Great choice to take there, especially if he's like your 4th wide receiver. I'd say he'd be an excellent choice at that point.
The studio audience, everybody loves it, man. Quentin Johnson.
Yeah.
I'm all in. Whether he busts or booms, this is my, I don't want to use a term other people use, but ride or die. This is my guy. Like all the way. I'm riding him all the way. All the way, man. This is my guy.
I think he's a great choice. I think he's absolutely a fine choice. And I don't really want any of the receivers in, on the Chargers except for Quentin Johnson. He's the only guy I'm really interested in at all. So,
all right, Jim, it is your turn here. You get the magical twinkle. And the breaking news, your next wide receiver is breakout, by the way. It
is Jerry Jeudy, wide receiver for Denver, currently going at ADP 55. So we got him going in like the 5th round. And last year, this is the thing that psychs me up about him. He was on that terrible offense. I mean, Denver ranked like bottom 3 in scoring, bottom 3 in production, and yet Jerry Jeudy still managed to put together wide receiver 18 production, 67 catches, 972 yards, and 6 touchdowns on 100 targets. Really excellent and way better than you'd think he'd be able to do. And this year, everything's better about his situation. First of all, it is a contract year for the guy, so he's playing for the big bucks. Receivers are getting big bucks in the league right now, so he's playing for that. He's got a much improved a much improved head coach. Sean Payton joined the team.
Right.
Sean Payton has been an offensive wonderkind, has been absolutely, I mean, everybody knows what he did with the Saints. He's fantastic. I think Russell Wilson is in store for a nice bounce back as well. I don't think Russell Wilson is washed, and I don't think Sean Payton would have taken this job if he thought Russell Wilson was washed, because why would you lock yourself into a losing situation? I've got him right now conservatively estimated as 1,000 yards, 70 catches, another 6 touchdowns. That would make him the wide receiver 8 if he gets to that point. And I think that's a very low hurdle to cross. I think he could actually exceed that. So, like I said, he is just a fantastic value at that point in the draft. And we've seen in past years, the 4th and 5th round wide receivers that break out can really just absolutely carry your team into a championship. So I think Jerry Jeudy is one of those guys this year.
Yeah, I mean, years to wow us, we're not really wowed, but again, Russell Wilson, make or break season this year. He's been ridiculed for the year that he had last year. I mean, you don't want to leave your legacy doing that bad. No way but up for this offense, especially with the addition of Sean Payton. He made some really good points here. I like him, especially for the value that he is. I don't have to pay that much to get him. You know, as part of your wide receiver core, sure. I mean, great value. Is this the year he's going to absolutely take off? Maybe. Is he ever going to take off at all? We don't know. But if there's any year that it's going to do, let's put it this way. If he doesn't have an amazing year this year, I will never, ever talk about Jerry Jeudy. He's kind of been that that wide receiver. It's like, come on, man. Like, let's do it. I think you got more potential than you have here. And, you know, he just hasn't lived up to the full potential, I think.
I fully agree. And if he can't get it done this year, it's not ever going to happen. So he would be completely off my list as well. But I think everything is swinging his way this year. So I very much like it. I do like him more than Cortland Sutton because one of the big differences is that Jeudy actually gets touchdowns. Sutton doesn't get touchdowns, and that just kills his value. So, yeah, I'm excited for what he can do this year. I'm excited to see what he can do.
If any year that Judy's going to do it, this is the year. Let's move on to the next wide receiver. Now, we are talking about breakouts here. Trailon Burks is a guy that I'm looking at. I'm not overly excited about this guy. I mean, you got to take a look at the quarterbacks. They got nobody there, for wide receiver. That's first and foremost. But at quarterback, I mean, who do you have? You have Ryan Tannehill starting. Levis was drafted. But apparently Malik Willis is doing better, for backup. So Levis is an opportunity to take that job, but again, looked inconsistent from the first glance and the videos we've been seeing. As long as Tannehill's there, he could consistently feed Trailon Burks. Again, not exciting, but the opportunity based on him being the one. Kyle Phillips is the two there. Whoever, I don't even know who the wide receivers is. Nobody relevant. Trailon Burks is the guy. Now, they were flirting with DeAndre Hopkins and other wide receivers, which kind of hints that they're not really sold that Trailon Burks is the man. Never really got going last year. Just, this is the year. If Trailon Burks is going to do something and he's supposed to be a good wide receiver because he was drafted with high draft capital, this is the year for Burks. Now, again, not exciting, not over the top, but there is a breakup potential. And the value for Trailon Burks, where you're getting a wide receiver one, is great. That's why I like him. There's some breakup potential here. But again, I'm not overly excited at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, his ADP of 82 is extremely enticing. I mean, that's a very easy get. And, what are we talking? We're talking the end of the 7th round, beginning of the 8th round. Yeah. And last year he had a lot of problems. I mean, he showed up to camp. He wasn't in proper condition. He dealt with injuries during the course of the season. Very disappointing season overall. But let's remember that he was taken 18th overall in last year's NFL draft. And they were so confident in Trailon Burks that they felt that they could just get rid of A.J. Brown. And that's what they did. And so he is basically the only receiving option of any note on this team. And yeah, if he can stay healthy, he's going to be just straight up productive just because. And so I actually do like him as more of a dice roll. But if he doesn't work out, it's not like a critical hit to your team. And where you're getting him in the draft, again, he'd probably be maybe your 4th wide receiver. No problem, man. I got no problem taking him there.
And he could be really good because if you look at A.J. Brown, right? A.J. Brown sucked on the Tennessee Titans. As soon as he got a good quarterback, he did well. The quarterback really makes the wide receiver. So Trailon Burks could be better than A.J. Brown. We don't know. If you plug in Trailon Burks with Hurts right now, you never know how good he could be. But because he was in such a crazy situation, it's a run-first offense. I don't know. Are they going to run more this year? Are they going to throw more this year? He might see some double coverage because they have no other wide receiver. It's going to be a weird offense. I'm still trying to figure this offense out. That's why I'm kind of like hesitant on Derrick Henry because they brought in Tajay Spears, who was a workhorse in college as well as a backup. They're building him up. Henry's old. Does he have one last hurrah? I love Henry, but I liked him more last year. A lot of question marks around this offense, especially with the backup quarterback battle and Tannehill over the hill and a lot of question marks, but you're getting a wide receiver one here for good value. At the time of this recording, again, they could bring in another wide receiver or something like that because they don't believe in Burks. We don't know.
This might just be the beginning of a big teardown of this offense. I don't anticipate Tennessee to be very good this year. And if they're behind in games, that means they're going to have to pass more. That's more potential volume for Trailon. So, like I said, I think he is a very solid dice roll and relatively low risk at his ADP. So, if you can get him 8th round or later, fantastic. I'd take him. I'd take him every time. So, yeah, I think he's great.
All right, Jim, your next guy here. Who are you? Who's a breakout for you at wide receiver? We got one more from you. Our last guy.
Yeah. So this guy, again, we are talking a last round pick. The last guy you take in your draft should be this guy. And it's on what's going to be a bad football team with a rookie quarterback, building for the future. But it's Tank Dell. AKA Nathaniel Dell on the draft board. Like I said, super easy get. ADP right now at 211. So it can Awesome.
Hold on, let me show you a Tank Dell. I don't know if you're able to see, guys. Tank Dell's workout. I'm putting it up here. I'm putting it on the screen up on my Instagram. So this was posted here. Let me just hit watch again. You guys can see this. He looks pretty dynamic, man. I think people are sleeping on. Look how crazy he looks here.
Yeah, you look. I mean, again, it's a great situation. He's coming in as the slot wide receiver on a bad offense with a rookie quarterback. He's gonna be the safety valve for CJ Stroud. And so I'm not anticipating a lot from Nathaniel Dell. So it's all upside. It's like going to that movie and all you've done is you heard about it. You haven't read or heard any of the hype about the guy. You're just like, let's just look at the situation and see what happens. Just kind of a neutral thing. And you come in and you exceed your expectations. And that's totally what I see Nathaniel Dell being. It's late in the draft and he has the opportunity, and that's really what you're looking for at this point in the draft anyway, is somebody with opportunity, and he could become the number one target on this team. And if he does, that's going to pay off in spades. So, So like I said, I love Tank Dell.
Stash.
Last pick in your draft, just grab him. He'll be there. I guarantee it.
I mean, CJ Stroud actually asked for this wide receiver, and we're in a situation where we don't know who the wide receiver one is. Nico Collins is not a true wide receiver one. Yeah, no way. I don't believe in that. He had a decent campaign last year, nothing crazy. It's going to be a young Tank Dell. You got John Mechie, who, thank God he's overcoming cancer. I don't know how far he is in his progress. I don't know where he's going to be mentally, how driven he's going to be going into the year. I don't know where he's at, completely health-wise. Hopefully he's good to go. But, Tank Dell just seems like the clear wide receiver one. The road to wide receiver one for Tank Dell seems the most clear to me. And then you got old Robert Woods, which, again, just does not appeal to me at all. So, Tank Dell seems like the guy. Again, we could be wrong, but, for a breakup potential, we don't know how good CJ Stroud's going to do. This offense could be better than advertised. We don't know. You don't know what you don't know. But there's tons of offenses that are being slept on. There's a ton of offenses that are being slept on because we don't know with the rookie quarterbacks. Like even Carolina's offense. They could be good. Like Jonathan Mingo could be a top 10 wide receiver. We don't know. Right? So
exactly. We don't. It is very difficult for rookie quarterbacks to make fantasy relevant receivers.
Right.
But, when you're talking about opportunity and being in the slot gets you high volume leads to production. And I think that's the best place. When it comes to rookie receivers, my favorite ones are the ones that are going into the slot role because the opportunity for massive volume is there. Just look at like CeeDee Lamb in his rookie year. He was playing almost exclusively in the slot, just got peppered with targets, had a huge year. And that's what you're looking for from someone like Tank Dell. So, but I've liked the guy ever since I found out he was drafted into this situation in Houston. So I think sky's the limit for this guy. So he's going to be a very solid producer for his rookie season.
Well, there you have it, guys. Chris Olave, we talked about him. Love him. 3rd round ADP. Quentin Johnson, you can get later. Amazing value. Could be the wide receiver one. Jerry Jeudy, angry Russell Wilson could be there this year for a major bounce back for Jerry Jeudy. Trailon Burks, just recapping him, in a position to succeed. Obviously, Tannehill could feed him consistently as long as they don't bring another wide receiver. And, of course, you got the major upside of Tank Dell you can get with literally your last pick. So 5 breakouts for you guys. Subscribe, thumbs up, and grab that 16-round draft solution, the 16-round plus at thefantasyfootballaccounts.com. Jim, is there anything else you want to say to the audience here who's watching?
Just stay cool out there, man. It is hot. It's hot out here.
Depends on where you live, actually.
I'm in the mountains and it's hot, so I can't imagine what it's like. They said in Albuquerque today it's going to be over 100, and I'm like, oh man. So stay cool out there, drink plenty of water, and use that air conditioner, and just stay cool.
I love how the audience claps for you. All right, Chip. For that note, thanks, guys. Make sure you guys subscribe. We're out, and grab the solution and drop a comment below. Let me know a breakout or two. We'll talk soon, guys. We're out.
All right. Have a good day, everybody.